everyone. Welcome back to your YouTube channel AgriAddict. I'm your mentor for this crash course on horticulture. My name is Deepthi. I have been graduated from Acharya M. Chiranga Agriculture University, Hyderabad in horticulture. I have done my master's in fruit science from GKVK University of Agriculture Sciences, Bangalore. Later, I have completed my PhD from YSR Horticulture University, Andhra Pradesh. During my academic journey, I have achieved All India rank 21 under ICR JRF. I have also cleared the ASRB net during 2008 and 9. So let us start. We are going to start the discussion on the first lecture, that is Introduction to Horticulture Crops. So let us understand what is horticulture. So the horticulture term was first defined by Liberty Hyde Bailey, who is one of the famous American scholars of horticulture. He defined horticulture as is the growing of fruits and vegetables and of plants for ornament and fancy. So the term horticulture is derived from two words. So we should know this two words, which means hortus means garden and the other word is cultura, which means to grow or cultivate. So these two put together, the term horticulture have been derived. And simply we can say the culture of crops in gardens is referred to as horticulture. But we should also understand that horticulture is a branch of agriculture. So primarily agriculture deals with the raising of plants as well as animals, but horticulture deals with the raising of garden crops. But today's horticulture deals not only with the cultivation of garden crops, but also deals with the production technologies, utilization, improvement of fruits, vegetables, flowers, spices, plantation crops, medicinal and aromatic plants. Meanwhile, if you look into the details, horticulture crops requires intense cultivation. So the cultivation here is going to be very intense in terms of large inputs of capital, labor, and technology per unit area when compared to agriculture crops. This point we have to remember. Then after knowing the definition of horticulture, let us understand the different divisions of horticulture. So horticulture is a wide subject. So it is divided into different divisions for our convenience and the crops which are dealt in those divisions. That is for the purpose and utilization of those crops. So the first division is the study of fruit crops, which we call it as pomology. Then the study of vegetable crops, we call it as olericulture. Then the study of flower crops, we call it as floriculture. And the study of cultivation of coconut, arecanut, tea, coffee and rubber comes under plantation crops. Likewise, the cultivation of cardamom, pepper, nutmeg comes under spice crops. Then the cultivation of medicinal and aromatic crops division. Then the important division is post-harvest technology, which deals with the post-harvest handling, processing, storage, marketing of all the above mentioned horticulture crops. So one more important word term you should remember here is perishables. Because of short shelf life, most of the horticulture crops have short shelf life. They are termed as perishables. That is the reason why post-harvest technology, the division of post-harvest technology has become most important or one among the divisions of the horticulture. Then the other most important horticultural division is plant propagation, which deals with the seeds and planting material of the horticultural crops. Then let us try to understand in detail with each division. The first division is pomology, as I've told you before. This is also, the term is also derived from two Latin words, pomum meaning fruit and logos meaning study. So therefore, we can easily tell that the study or the cultivation of the fruit crops is called pomology. And under different climatic conditions, that is tropical, subtropical, and temperate regions. One such examples are mango, banana, citrus, papaya, guava. Then jackfruit, lychee, and grapes. Then the other important group of crops are apple, pear, peach, plum, which are cultivated under temperate region. Likewise, if you see the second division, olericulture. This term is also derived from two Latin words, which means oleri means pot herb and cultura meaning cultivation. So pot herbs are nothing but herbaceous or plants which are which can also be planted in pots. Therefore, olericulture literally means the cultivation of solanaceous, cucurbitaceous, leguminous, cruciferous root crops and leafy vegetables such as onion, tomato, brinjal, peas, okra, chili, cabbage, cauliflower, bottle gourd, all the gourds, cucumber, watermelon, some of the root vegetables. Then the third division is floriculture. So the term floriculture is also derived from two Latin words. First one is florus, which means flower, and cultura, as we know, meaning cultivation. Therefore, the cultivation of flower crops. That too, we can divide the flower crops into two different categories. The first one is cut flowers, and the second one is loose flowers. And one such examples are among the cut flowers are roses, orchids, gladiolus, carnations, anthurium, gerbera. And the ones which comes under loose flower category are jasmine, marigold, chrysanthemum, tuberose, Rosandra, etc. So the cultivation of flower crops is comes under the division of floriculture. Along with the cultivation of flower crops, we also have a subsection called landscape gardening. So this basically deals with the planning and execution of ornamental crops in outdoors like parks, gardens, and also which fulfill the aesthetic and functional purposes. So this is the subsector under floriculture. Then we should know about the fourth important division, which is a very broad division. So which includes plantation crops, spices and condiments, medicinal and aromatic crops. So what exactly plantation crops are? These crops are grown extensively in large areas. So they are either owned or managed by individual or a company. So they used to call as estate. Plantations are called estates. Actually, the cultivation of plantation crops are usually termed as estates. We call it as tea estate, coffee estate, rubber estate, and so on. So the produce of these plants are utilized only after processing. So they cannot be consumed fresh. So the examples here are arecanut, coconut, oil palm, cashew, tea, coffee, rubber, vanilla, cacao. All this comes under this division. Then the important crops under this division, which are considered as plantation crops, are spices and condiments. So these are the crops which deals with the cultivation of crops whose produce is mainly utilized for seasoning and flavoring of dishes. So seasoning and flavoring of only purely for this culinary purposes, the spices and condiments are utilized. Especially if you look into the spices, these are the crops which produce aroma and flavor to the food. And if you look the condiments, these are the crops which produce the produce which includes food adjuncts which add color and taste to the food. So here spices add aroma, whereas the condiments add color and taste. The examples of those crops are pepper, cardamom, clove, and cinnamon, whereas the condiments are turmeric, ginger, red chilies, onion, and garlic. Then, as I've told you, this division also includes medicinal and aromatic plants. So if you see that medicinal plants are a group of plants which yield secondary metabolites as a potential sources of drugs. So they give us the secondary metabolites like alkaloids, glucosides, glycosides, coumarins, flavonoids, and steroids. They are used in the preparation of drugs. So some examples of medicinal plants are periwinkle, opium, cinchona, diascorea, belladonna, senna, ashwagandha, sarpagandha, tulsi, and so on. Then the aromatic plants. This is the group where the plants produce essential oils in them. So these are further used in making the odoriferous steam volatile constituents. Then the examples are lemongrass, citronella, palmarosa, vetiver, geranium, davanum, lavender, and such plants comes under the cultivation of aromatic plants. The last division of horticulture is post-harvest technology. As I mentioned before, it deals with the harvesting, grading, packing, storage, all the post-harvest handling operations for all the crops, fruit, vegetable, medicinal, aromatic, plantation, flowers, all this comes under this post-harvest technology. Whereas the storage and processing into various products like value addition and preservation of the fruits and vegetables is also all this comes under the post-harvest technology division. Then after knowing the definition and the different divisions of horticulture, let us understand why should one go for what is the need or the scope of horticulture. Why should one go for cultivation of horticultural plants? First reason is horticulture acts as a source of variability in produce. So as we all know, horticulture includes the production technology of fruits, vegetables, uh, spices, medicinal. So there is much variability when compared to agriculture crops. Then horticulture acts as a source of nutrients, like vitamins, minerals, all this for our human diet, so that it helps in our health. So horticulture also acts as a source of medicine. So as we already discussed, medicinal crops are the potential sources of drugs manufacturing. Then horticulture sector itself will give an economic proposition, and in terms of high returns per unit area, like energy, money, and job opportunities are also high in horticulture sector. Then horticulture plays an important role in effective utilization of wastelands. So some of the lands, cultivable lands, cannot be cultivated because of the soil problems. So there we can go for cultivation or plantation of hardy fruit plants or arid fruit plants, and some of the medicinal plants which are tolerant to these lands. So that is also one big advantage. Then horticulture acts as a substitute for family income. So small scale production of horticulture crops in home gardens and kitchen gardens is also considered. Then it acts as a maximum foreign exchange earner, which have a higher share when compared to agriculture crops. Horticulture crops, especially the fruits, and vegetables, fresh produce or the processed products, will have a major share in the export market. Then some of the fruits and vegetables have religious significance in the country. Then they will show the aesthetic consideration, especially the flowers. Then some of the trees, when planted, they give protection to the environment on a sustainable basis. So horticulture cropping systems, along with forestry trees, will help in the sustainability of the environment. Then the final important point is that they enhances the land value. So here it creates the better purchasing power of the people who are engaged in this industry. So finally, we can say that horticulture is important for health, wealth, and happiness. So this is the sunrise sector. We can say that this is the sunrise sector of agriculture, or the golden revolution is concerned with the horticulture. So some of these can be remembered. So you can expect 1 or 2 questions in the exam. Then let us understand the importance of horticulture crops in our human diet. Before I was telling that fruits and vegetables are the major sources of different constituents in our body, which help us to grow for the growth and development. Then if you see, fruits and vegetables are important for our balanced diet. So we all consume fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. So they are called as protective foods. So realizing the worth of fruits and vegetables on human health, ICMR have recommended an intake of 120 grams of fruits and 280 grams of vegetables per head per day. So it is optimum intake of fruits and vegetables. So in order to have good health. So let us know the different functions of fruits and vegetables in the human body. So what happens if you take fruits and vegetables on a daily basis? So they improve the palatability or the taste. So it is easy for us to have fruits and vegetables when compared to cereals or any pulses as such. So if we incorporate along with them, then it gives some taste to us. Then it improves appetite also, so that we can have more food and enjoy the food which also contains not only the nutrients, minerals, sugars, carbohydrates, proteins, and all. It also have a minimum amount of fiber, which is useful to overcome constipation and other problems. Then they neutralize the acids produced during digestions of proteins and fatty acids. So then they also improve the general immunity. This point is important. So the immunity can be boosted if you take fruits and vegetables on a daily basis. So which in turn helps our body to fight against diseases and also deficiency symptoms. Then this might not be the last point, but this is the first point. These fruits and vegetables are the important sources of vitamins and minerals. That is the reason why they are called as protective foods. And these are further useful for our biochemical or metabolic reactions that occur inside our body. Then fruits and vegetables also provide high energy. So when compared to per unit area, when compared to cereals, this is in terms of production. So we can understand this. Here is the table which shows the potential sources of fruits and vegetables, and the sources of vitamins and minerals, the different vitamins and minerals, and their role in human body along with the deficiency symptoms. If we have these type of fruits and vegetables, we can meet the daily requirement of vitamin A, and we can knock out the deficiency symptoms. So here are the different vitamins, so from A to K. So vitamin A, then vitamin B1 and B2. So the possible sources are different tropical fruits. Then some of them are fruits and nuts, and some of them are greens, mostly the vegetables which are green in color. Here you can have the other vitamins, vitamin C, D, E, and K. So the possible role of these vitamins in the human body and along with the deficiency symptoms. Then vitamin C, all the citrus fruits. Then D in mushroom and some of the green leafy vegetables. Then vitamin E and K also rich in some of the nuts and also green leafy vegetables. Then after knowing the different sources of fruits and vegetables in vitamins, we also consider the different minerals also. So fruits and vegetables are rich in calcium, phosphorus, as well as iron to the maximum extent. Their deficiency symptoms can cause some of the diseases or so we can have the potential sources of fruits and vegetables here. Sitafal, ramfal, so wood apple, then iron rich fruits are karanda, date palm, resins and all. Then you can have a look on this. I will share the notes and you can now go through this, and please remember the potential sources of vitamins especially. Then we all know that majority of the agriculture crops are rich in carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. But here fruits and vegetables are also rich in these constituents of food. So carbohydrates like we all know potato and some of the fruits. Then proteins are present in most of the nuts as well as some of the peas and beans. Then fats are also rich in some of the fruits like avocado, potato, and some of the nuts. We offer two sets of I'd like to announce something. We offer two sets of free mock tests which are available in our app or excuse me. We offer two sets of free mock tests which are accessible in our app and website. So you can make utilize of them to enhance your exam preparation, JRF preparation. So if you are looking for comprehensive mock tests on the entire syllabus, then you can also check out for our mock test bundle, which is available for just 299 rupees. Then we also offer online master course which include video lectures, study materials, mock tests, previous year question paper discussions, and also doubt clearing sessions. All this, the links of all this are available in our in the description box. Please click on the link and register today. So after knowing the importance of horticulture in human diet, let us know the importance of horticulture in the national economy. So we can here study under two different headings. First one is Indian scenario and the second one is world scenario on the global scenario. Then the percentage share, we should know some of the statistics here for the exam point of view. Then the percentage share of horticulture output in agriculture on a whole is around 33%. So 1/3 of the agriculture produce or the agriculture output, the production share is from horticulture only in India. Then the total horticulture production for the year 2022-23 is 351 million tons. So you have to remember this, which is around 352 million tons, which is an increase of about 4.74 when compared to the last year. And the percentage share is 1.37%. Increase is 1.37%. So if you look, this is the overall horticulture. If you look into the details of within the horticulture, the vegetable crops ranks first with a production of 212.1 million tons for the year 2022-23, which is when compared to 209 for the last year. Then the second place goes to the fruit production, which is around 108.34 million tons when compared to 107.1 for last year. Then the third place goes to plantation crops, which accounts for about 16.5 million tons for the year 2022-23 when compared to 15.76 for last year. The increase share is about, production increase share is about 1.78%. Then here, if you look into the graph, so for a period of 10 years from 2012 to 2022 to 23, the production of horticulture crops in million tons have been increased from more than 200 million tons to more than 300. Now we have seen that it is 251 million tons. Before it was more than 200. So we can notice that for a period of for a decade or for a period of 10 years, the increase is around 100 million tons. Then let us look into this graph, which shows the percentage share of total horticultural produce and the number one production states, and the states which are producing the horticultural crops and their statistics are present in this table. So here, if you look, Uttar Pradesh stands for the stands highest, is in the first place of production of horticultural crops with an annual production of 408.13 lakh tons, which is followed by West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh. But if we consider the percent share of fruit production, especially fruit production among the different states, it is Andhra Pradesh, which ranks highest with a percentage share of 17.3, followed by Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh. Likewise, if you look the percentage share of vegetable production among the different states in India, West Bengal ranks highest with a production share of 15.1%, followed by Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Then if you look the percentage share of plantation crops, among the different states growing plantation crops, the leading producer is Kerala with a percentage share of around 30%, followed by Karnataka 28.3% and Tamil Nadu. So all these three states put together to around 75% of the total plantation crop production in the country. Then the percentage share of medicinal and aromatic plants among different major producing states in India, the leading producer will be the Tamil Nadu state, which accounts for about 45.6%, followed by Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Then the percentage share of flower production among the different flower producing states, the leading producer is Tamil Nadu with an percentage share of 17.5, then followed by Karnataka and then Madhya Pradesh. So it is important to have an idea of which state is producing which horticultural crop, which group of horticultural crops, whether if it is fruits, it is Andhra Pradesh, if it is for plantation, it is Karnataka, then flowers, Tamil Nadu, like that. We have to at least have an idea so that whenever the question is attempted, it is easy for us to attempt the questions. Then comes the global scenario. After looking into the Indian scenario, let us understand where India stands under global conditions. So it is the second, India holds the second position in the production of fruits and vegetables. So it is the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables. So horticulture crops alone cover about 13.8% of the total area under agriculture. So cultivable area in India accounts for 13.80% under horticulture crops, which contribute to about 28 percentage of the national GDP. And if you see the percentage share of export of horticulture crops, which is around 37% when compared to all other agriculture commodity. Out of all the agriculture commodities, 37% of horticulture commodities is the total export percentage. Then in India, the major horticulture crops which are exported are fruits, vegetables, their processed products, flowers, seeds, planting materials, spices, etc. So majority of the horticulture produce is being exported to various countries. But if you look among the fresh fruits, mangoes and grapes are leading, whereas in vegetables, onions and potatoes are leading. Among the flowers, roses are leading for export. Then among the plantation crops, almost all the plantation crops like cashew nut, tea, coffee, coconut, arecanut, all these are exported to some extent to different countries. Then all the spice crops like black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, chilies and all this forms a major bulk of the export market. If you look into the countries, so the European market as well as the Gulf countries are the major importers of this or of our Indian horticultural produce. Then you have to remember the different horticulture research institutes which are located in our country. So the definitions also holds good if you remember. So if you go for tabular form, so different institutions on fruit crops, different institutions on vegetable crops, and common institutions which holds good like the IHR which is located in Bangalore. So the location is more important in exam point of view. Try to remember and make a note in a tabular form. So here you can see, in general, the institutes are Horticulture Research Bangalore. Likewise, in general, vegetable research is in Varanasi, like spices. And if you go crop specific, we have an NRC for banana at Tiruchirappalli, Tamil Nadu. Likewise, we have NRCs for different various fruit crops and vegetable crops. Like citrus, we have in Maharashtra. Then onion and garlic in Pune, Maharashtra. Grape also in Pune. Likewise, it is very much important to make a note of all this and remember them. You can expect at least 1 or 2 questions from this horticulture institutes which are located in our country. So some of them are located outside the country, the Asian Vegetable Research Institute, which works in our country as well. After knowing the different horticulture institutes, let us know the different horticulture zones of India. So horticulture, we know that horticulture crops are cultivated all over the states. Then we can it is easy for our study and for our convenient. So if we divide the crops under tropical, subtropical and temperate regions, because India is bestowed with a great variety of climate and soil conditions. So it differs from area to area. So especially they are divided into 3 different groups, as I've told you, and each category there are differences in rainfall, humidity, altitude. Then considering these aspects, 6 different horticulture zones. These are the major zones of climate, and here 6 different zones of horticulture have also been identified. And among them, the first one is temperate region. which comes under the different states like Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, the northern parts, north and north eastern parts. Then comes the northwest subtropical zone, horticulture zone, which covers the states of Punjab, Haryana, and North MP. Then north the eastern subtropical zone, which covers the states of Bihar, Assam, Jharkhand, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Manipur. Then comes the central tropical zone. So the tropical zone have been divided into three different zones. The one is the central tropical, the southern tropical, which covers these states, the southern tropical, which covers all the southern states, then the southern coastal humid, so which have coastal areas like Goa, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, and Orissa. Then the classification of horticultural crops. So this is also important for exam point of view. So you need to remember the common names, botanical names, their the diploidy and the chromosome number, their families, and systematic classification is very much important. So if you give them in a tabular form and then look whenever possible, so it is easy for you to understand. So then here the classification of horticulture crops is very much important because India is bestowed with rich diversity of plant wealth. So there are around 9,500 species registered till now, have been recorded till now in the ethnobotanical of interest. Then out of this, 50 types of various fruits and vegetables are being under cultivation, along with flowers, spices, and plantation crops. So an attempt to do all these plants separately becomes tedious and cumbersome. So it is very unfeasible and also repetitive. So to avoid these difficulties, it is always better to classify plants into different groups. So based upon their similarities and dissimilarities of attributes, all the botanical or any other attributes. So plants having similarity in either of these traits are placed under one group. Such type of grouping of plants, we know that the grouping of plants in different categories is called classification. This classification may be of two types. So one is systematic classification, the other is commercial classification of the or the horticulture classification. So the fruit, as I've told you, the systematic classification, so many species are there available in our country, whereas only some of the species are under commercial cultivation in different parts of the country. So that is the reason why we should know the production technologies. In order to know the production technologies, we have to classify those species into different groups based upon their botanical relationship. So let us understand the different classifications, how among the fruits, if you see the different divisions as in the starting we have understood like fruits, vegetables, flowers, medicinal and aromatic, plantation and all. So for the cultivation purpose, it is once again divided into different groups or categories based upon the nature of the growth, whether they are evergreen or deciduous, on the climatic requirement, as I have told you, whether they need tropical climate, subtropical or temperate, then continuation of growth, then types of fruit, whether the fruits are simple or of aggregate, then the parts used for plant propagation, then their botanical relationship, their growth and all, then their tolerance to various abiotic and biotic stresses, then on the ripening behavior like climatic and non-climatic fruits, then ethylene evolution after harvest, and the bearing habits, whether they bear on the inflorescence and single fruit or the aggregate fruit, then photoperiodic requirement, whether they are short day plants or long day plants, like that. So, for example, I have given you based upon the fruits. So, for example, I have given on you fruits. So, this will be dealt in detail with in the coming lectures. So, you no need to worry. But if you make all this in a tabular form, it is easy for you to remember. So, as I've told you, it is better to remember their common names, scientific names, and also the chromosome number, their families, as well as their varieties also. Likewise, flowers, spices, and plantation crops. Then if we look into the climatic requirement for horticulture crops, so the climate is, let us understand the climatic requirement as well as the soil requirement for the production of horticulture crops. So first we'll deal with the climate. So what is climate exactly? It is a complex factors which influence the fruit growth and production. So atmospheric conditions which include, the climate include rainfall, humidity, sunshine, wind and other factors. So in order to exploit the potential of the crop and its sustenance, right choice based on climate and soil as well as soil is required for the management of crops. Otherwise, it becomes difficult and the cost of the cultivation rises. So based upon the climatic requirements, fruit crops can be divided. Before we have seen the different zones. Now we will see the different zones according to the climatic. As simple as such, before as we have seen before, we have seen the different zones in the country. Now we are seeing the different fruit crops which are suitable for different climatic conditions. First being the tropical zone, where here the climate is equable climate with no distinct winter. So under this, the fruit crops, all the tropical fruit crops like mango, banana, papaya, sapota, pineapple, coconut and cashew nut, jackfruit and avocado can be easily cultivated on a commercial scale. Likewise, if you see the subtropical climate, so the climate with distinct winter and summer. So here we can distinguish between winter months and summer months. In those areas, fruit crops like guava, grapes, citrus, date palm, falsa, pomegranate, lychee, and locust can be commercially cultivated. Then the third zone is temperate zone, where the weather is distinct in winter, summer, as well as autumn. So here there is no distinct winter. Here there is winter and summer, and here there is winter, summer, and autumn. So in these cases, that all the deciduous fruit crops are almost suitable for commercial production. Here, the temperature, you should know one more point here, the temperature goes below freezing. So these fruit crops will go into a dormant stage. So that is also advantage for them to overcome the freezing, below freezing or sub-zero temperatures. So if you look into the one by one, the climatic constituents, the first one is light. Light is nothing but the electromagnetic radiation. So which out of which the wavelength of 4,000 to 7,700 Armstrong units is being utilized by the plants for their photosynthesis. So it is very much important for their growth and development. So mainly if you look at the light, two aspects of light is being important for the growth and development of the plants, which for the first one is intensity of the light and the second one is duration of the light. So the intensity of the light, if you see, horticulture crops need a lot of light during their growth. So, and some of the plants grow well under sunny climate, and some of them require shade for flowering and fruiting. If you see, the crops which can tolerate shade are turmeric and ginger, and some of the fruits require shade during the part of the life cycle or development. That is mangosteen, cocoa, coffee, and tea. Then coming to the duration of the light, the duration is nothing but the time lapse between the dawn and the dusk, from morning till the evening, is referred to as photoperiod. And this photoperiod is very much in concern for the cultivation of horticulture crops, especially fruits, vegetables, and flowers. So they exert considerable influence on flowering of the plants. So according to the duration of the light, the horticulture crops can be divided into long day plants, short day plants, and day neutral plants. So long day plants require to about 14 hours of daily sunlight. Daily amount of sunlight has to be received for these plants. Example, passion fruit, apple, cabbage, cauliflower, beetroot, radish. So based upon the duration of the light, the horticulture plants are divided into three different categories: long day plants, short day plants, and day neutral plants. So the long day plants require minimum of 14 hours of daylight during their growth and development. The examples here are passion fruit, apple, cabbage, cauliflower, onion, some of the most of the root vegetables, and some of the leafy vegetables. Then comes short day plants, which requires to around not less than 10 hours of daily sunlight. So for their flowering and fruiting, the best example is strawberry, pineapple, coffee, and some of the flower crops from chrysanthemum, poinsettia, balsam. Short day plants, which requires 10 hours, at least 10 hours of photo period, daylight during their growth and development, especially for flowering. The best example is strawberry, pineapple, coffee, and some of the flower crops like chrysanthemum, poinsettia, aster, and balsam. Then day neutral plants, which that doesn't have any effect on the duration or daylight of the plants. We have the examples like papaya, guava, banana, sapota, olive, and most of the fruit crops comes under this category. Then some of the vegetables like tomato, pepper, cucumbers, and some of the vegetable medicinal and aromatic crops and varieties of peas. Then if you look into the second climatic requirement, that is heat. Heat is non-mechanical energy transfer with reference to a temperature between a system and its natural surrounding or its environmental surrounding. So it is measured in case by as temperature by thermometers. So the growth of the plants or horticulture plants especially is primarily dependent on temperature. Then here, as we already studied the different categories of fruits like tropical fruits, subtropical and temperate fruits based upon the climatic requirement. Here, if you look, the temperature also influences the fruit crops like apple, pear, peach, and plum. So they become dormant, as I've told you before, due to short days and low temperature conditions. They can thrive well under sub-zero temperatures or chilling temperatures. Those crops are called temperate fruit crops. On the other hand, if we see the subtropical or tropical fruit plants, they cannot withstand frost and chilling or the sub-zero temperatures, which is very harmful, where they can undergo wilting symptoms and even the death of the plants can also occur. Not only the low temperatures, even high temperatures found in arid regions are also very harmful to these horticulture plants, may cause wilting, necrotic spots, and even death of the plants. Here, according to the seasons, according to the heat or the temperature, the vegetable and flower crops can be divided into two categories: the warm season vegetable and the cool season vegetables. On the warm season flowers and the cool season flowers, where they show maximum growth and flowering during warm months or the during the summer months, and they show more productivity during the winter months. Such examples are mentioned here. Here you can also notice that some of the varieties of tomato thrive well under warm seasons, whereas some of the varieties of tomato thrive well under cool seasons. So here you can go through the examples of different flowers also. Then the other important constituent of climate, which influences the growth and development of horticulture crops, is water. Water is very much important as it is the substrate required for photosynthesis. Like in case of light, even water is also important. It is a transparent, odorless, and tasteless liquid, as we all know, that includes hydrogen and oxygen molecules that constitute the hydrogen molecule, oxygen molecules. It is essential for plant growth and development, for the metabolic activities. So it comes in the form of precipitation of rain or or snow. Then the water requirement of plant is dependent on soil type and its evapotranspiration rate. So the water requirement is very much very much dependent on the soil type as well as evapotranspiration rate. And different groups of plants or the different crops require different water during their life cycle. Then water is also present in the atmosphere as a vapor. We call it as humidity. So the atmospheric humidity also influences the growth and development of horticultural plants. So if we look into this humidity, high humidity, some of the fruit crops thrives well under high humidity, humid conditions, whereas arid or low humidity conditions, the fruit crops like pear, date, plum, and pomegranate, citrus, they thrive well during the low humid conditions. So high humidity is required with banana, mangosteen, jackfruit, and breadfruit. Mostly they are grown under the coastal regions. These are grown under the arid regions. So horticulture crops can also be categorized in this manner. Then the last constituent, climatic constituent, which is important for the growth and development of horticulture crops, is air, which is nothing but the mixture of several gases, especially oxygen and nitrogen, and hydrogen and other gases to some extent, which forms the atmosphere. So if its quality, the air quality is polluted by accumulation of hydrocarbons and other pollutants like methane and ethylene, so the plant growth is adversely affected. So even the movement of the air, which is called wind, this also causes great damage to the horticulture crops, especially in desert, coastal conditions, and valleys. So for the provision of windbreaks and shelter bands are suggested under such conditions, or sometimes have to be avoided during plantation. Then after going through the climatic requirement of horticulture crops, then we can go through the soil requirement of horticulture crops. So soil, we all know that soil is the uppermost crust of the earth's surface, which supports the plant growth. So it consists of minerals, organic matters, living organisms, gas, and texture. What is of our concern is the minerals constituent. So these mineral constituents can be of coarse texture or fine texture. The coarse structure is gravel and the fine structure is sand, silt, and clay. And the proportions of this sand, silt, and clay refers to as soil texture. Then the arrangement of these sand, silt, and clay or the mineral particles refers to the soil structure. Put together, this soil structure and texture lend the soil the physical properties like water holding capacity, aeration, and bulk density. Then the minerals and other salts, not only this sand, silt, and clay proportion, some of the minerals are also present in the soil, which lend to the chemical properties like soil pH, alkalinity, sodicity, salinity, and cation exchange capacity, which has a greater influence on the availability of nutrients to the plants. So if you see, look into the production of horticulture crops, whether it is fruits, vegetables, or flowers, they generally prefer the loamy soils. Loamy soils is a complete mixture of sand, silt, and clay in equal proportions. So it is most preferred for fruit crops. And apart from loamy soils, they also need porous soils, well aerated, deep and uniformly textured soils. And the pH of the soil should be in the range of 6 to 8 range. Then if you see, fruit crops are susceptible to waterlogged conditions. So they should have well aerated soils, and the growth is adversely affected by the salinity, sodicity, and alkalinity. Therefore, some of the alternatively, we can go for tolerant or resistant crops. Here, we should know about the different resistant crops for this abiotic stresses, especially salinity tolerance can be seen in pear, kidney, wood apple, date palm, where only and fig, all the arid fruit crops can be grown under these soil conditions. Then sodicity tolerant crops are bear, tamarind, wood apple, date palm, acaronda, fig, falsa, guava to some extent, bale and almond. So then the other thing, important thing is drought resistant or drought tolerant crops. Here bear, onla, falsa, soda, custard apple and caronda, fig and guava can also be used for those areas where other fruit crops cannot be grown. So these are the different categories where we can go for tolerant or resistant crops to face the different problems in fruit cultivation. Thank you. That's all for today class. We can meet with the next lecture with another topic. Thank you.